Up next, we have amazing two people. We've got Charlotte Kennett, microphone, who is the Senior Director. Let me get this perfectly right. She's a Senior Director of Global Customer Experience at Blue Prism. And with her, we have Grigor Kotsev. He's right there too. He's the Senior Director of EMEA, actually. The international one is just to trick you, for Customer Success and Business Value at Khoros. And they have worked together, and that's why they're on stage. They're going to tell us a little bit about their story. And it's funny because when I was reading the headline here with silos, and I was thinking about where I come from in Canada, if any of you live in the prairies or near farming communities, when we talk about silos, we're talking about like grain bins, right? Okay, somewhere that you store all of the farm. Yeah, I'm getting some thumbs up. Some people know. But obviously, we talk about silos in our businesses too. So I'll hand it over to these guys who can tell you the proper description of this topic.
Does it work? Does this work? Yeah? Can you hear me?
Hello, hello everyone. How are you guys going so far? How are you doing? Doing well? Amazing crowd. We are very happy to be here with you today. Obviously, this is an amazing event. And we are going to share an amazing story, of course. The Blue Prism story. It's a story about human beings. Not that much about technology, not that much about AI and all that funny stuff that you may hear and see everywhere. It's about how human beings make those initiatives successful for their businesses. I think, hopefully, that's my commitment, at least for you. Everybody should walk away from that session with some insight, some learnings, something to take away and apply in your own context, in your own business. That's all about the community, right? Community-led world. It's all about sharing, collaborating, pushing the boundaries of the limits of the knowledge. That's where we are here all together. And yeah, I mean, it's all about Blue Prism, just a small advertising about Khoros. By the way, who knows about Khoros in the room? Oh, okay, half of the room only, okay. Just one statement. Khoros, we are the business and technology partner for your community success, for your online business, using community for your brands, right? So if you want to learn more, hear more from us, we have a booth in the main rooms here, so we can discuss about that. But now it's all about Blue Prism and the secrets behind the scenes, if I can say so. So I'm very happy to have that awesome human being here on stage with me. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
Yeah? I'm just going to sit down because it's awkward having the chairs behind.
Okay, can I sit down next to you?
Yeah, come on. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. All good.
Okay.
No pressure at all. Thanks.
Okay, so let's start directly. Maybe you can share a couple of thoughts about yourself, what brought you into the community space, and all the fun stuff as well.
Yeah, so about the slides is I can't follow when people just talk and I need visual cues, hence why there's slides. So there we go. So yeah, a bit more about me. Being in the community space for about 15 years, I started up being the president of a fan club of a Dutch heavy metal band. And kind of when I went into business school, I then, find out that there was an opportunity to, work with communities on a business standpoint. And that's when I started out my career in the video games industry. Some of you may recognize some of the brands on screen as well. I fell in love with one of our super users and moved to London to work for Lithium, now Khoros. And I was part of the consulting team for about 4 years, where some of the people in the room to help develop some of the methodology, such as our certification program, but also launched over 30 communities in that time. Moved into the marketing department at Lithium at the time. And I realized that my sweet spot is really between that marketing side of things, the marketing jazz hands, but I don't like the demand generation. I like the warm and fuzzies, such customer marketing, which is how I kind of evolved my career. Been at Blue Prism for 6 years now, and I'll talk a bit more about that. But outside of work, I like to run, although very slowly, sometimes dressed up, mostly for charity. And I have a 4.5-year-old at home currently with chicken pox. Blue Prism, for those who do not know us, we created a technology called RPA, Robotic Process Automation, similar as Zapier in the automation space, born out of community. It's an industry that is fascinating because it's a technology that anybody can use, not just super nerd developers. And the possibilities of automation are absolutely endless. We work very much with the NHS, the UK police, to do some really cool stuff and making sure that people can actually spend less time doing paperwork. In terms of what I do at Blue Prism, again, I'm a visual person. So heading up CX, I report into our Chief Marketing Officer. And in reality, the remit of my role covers customer marketing all the way to kind of end user engagement. And these are the types of the functions that my team have responsibility for, underlined by voice of customer and customer intelligence. You've got an overview of some of the programs that we manage, and we have aligned KPIs with different parts of the business. So that is just kind of setting the scene of my team's responsibility. And you can see community programs and platforms kind of sits in there as well, but we'll go a bit more into detail about that in a minute.
Amazing. So it sounds like there is a lot of passion and fun within the business, right? I think that's one of the key ingredients here. Yeah, I mean, I think recently this year you celebrated 5 years of your Blue Prism community, right? Like, what's the thing that you're most proud of in your initiative? Yeah.
So community, Blue Prism as a technology RPA was born out of community. It was a bunch of program business analysts up in Manchester in the garage, people working at Barclays Bank trying to automate some stuff. That's kind of how RPA was born, and we were born out of the DNA of community. But as we were preparing this, I was going to kind of go down that route. But the reality, the thing I'm the most proud of is the humans. I've got the best team I could have hoped for. I mean, I'm not saying that because they're there and some of them are online, but also the community itself, like people, we don't save lives and change lives, but the people using our technology does, and that's really what gets us up every morning. And being able to enable them, tell the success, share the successes, that is really kind of what I'm the most proud of.
Yeah, the human being in the center.
Exactly, yeah.
I love this. And so you showed us that diagram, impressive. One of the things we see in the customer success space is you basically need a couple of key elements to be successful, and one of them is to have a key sponsor, somebody who is taking care within the organization. Of course, there are multiple heads, but who is really the person that really encompasses the community initiative and embodies that on a C-level. So maybe can you share how does that work on that level?
Yeah.
And who is sponsoring you?
Yeah, of course. So I report into our Chief Marketing Officer. I'll kind of get into that in a bit. I think there's a lot of value being in marketing. I think that being part of the marketing operations ecosystem has a lot of value, brings a lot of opportunity in terms of operationalizing what we're doing. I have a co-sponsor with our SVP of operations. So they own the support, back-end customer operation platforms, education services. So they help fund some of that, and we also have some KPIs aligned with that. But the reality is that everybody, like all of our leaders, have a stake in what we do with community.
Love it, love it. And so that was the title of the story, right? Breaking the silos. Right.
Forgot to show that. Yeah, just quickly.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I did these slides. Yeah, just kind of evolution of how the community has evolved over the last 5 years. But yeah.
Where does it start?
It starts in 2019, built by one single person who was formerly at Virgin Media in 4 months, and is what it is today. But we can kind of dive into that a bit
Yep.
if needed.
Yep.
But that's the slide I wanted to kind of show, is how it's embedded. All of the kind of areas that are in green are ones where we have tangible, measurable results that we do report back to the business, and the leaders have KPIs linked to that.
Nice. So what's the secret sauce? How do you basically combine all those different teams, cultures, KPIs, different goals? I mean, how does that work?
A lot of passion, being tenacious, getting inspired. And basically, I'd say it kind of boils down to 3 things. The first one being speaking the same language, finding a common language. The second one being making sure that there's like an established common framework. And the third one being around just kind of forgetting that egos and deciding where you put your energy. Speaking the same language, I'm going to give a very simple example. In a marketing leadership meeting a few months ago, I just shared some other stats, and I shared, well, the community gets more traffic than .com, and 30% of those traffic are prospects. Heads of demand generation were like, oh, untapped opportunity. And it's about understanding what is going to move the needle for them. So what is going to be something for a marketing leader? I mean, my CMO, he's interested in pipeline generation, so I give him pipeline generation numbers. My VP of customer operations, he wants to improve his margins, so I give him that kind of cost avoidance element there. So it's really about doing that.
Sorry, can you repeat that? The community has 30% more traffic than the website?
Oh, no. So the community has more traffic and kind of better traffic than the .com.
The .com, okay.
And 30% of that traffic are prospects.
Cool.
So then there's opportunity there to see how we can convert and make my peers in marketing happy.
Absolutely.
The second one was the established framework. We are a relatively small team, and we are really passionate about creating a kind of, in development, in the developer community, you have citizen development, citizen community managers, and that's why the established framework is really, really important. I weaponize flowcharts because I'm just so sick of people asking the same question, but it also means that we have a common ground and common knowledge, and it means that we are not gatekeepers, and that's also the kind of breaking down the silo. Example is user group program. We tried to launch a user group program 3-4 times. Never really worked. And the reality is that it's because we were trying to manage it centrally. So we worked with our stakeholders, build a playbook, got alignments, so it meant that we were able to do it. But the roles and responsibilities were clearly established, processes were clearly established, and now it's running in the wild and is growing organically. Which leads to the third point, is those egos and silos. I don't need a team of 150 people. I mean, it would be nice, but I just want people that are passionate and can do things that they do properly. And also focus your energy, right? If there's still some parts of the business that do not want to get involved, I've got enough work as it is. So focus time and energy with people that want to make change happen and kind of move things forward, really.
Wow, impressive.
Thank you.
Impressive. Do you think there is a mindset or a cultural thing that embraces that, like breaking the silos approach, or is that?
I think that's where the numbers come in, and the numbers are really important, and having speaking the same language. It's that those departments that don't want to work with us and don't necessarily see the value, that's fine, but we'll continue to show them, like, well, these are the kind of things we've been able to do, this is the kind of software we've been able to do, etc. So.
Wow. And is it possible to share some key results with the audience?
Of course we can.
Nice.
One would think we had this plan. So I'm not able to share numbers because this is recorded, but you can kind of get a sense of scale. So when we talk about community, we talk about platform and programs. Platform, the destination. The programs is everything that's around it. I report into our CMO. Our CMO wants to understand influence pipeline. So how many of the people that have joined in our various programs, should it be ideation, user groups, product research, all the other fun stuff, how many of these individuals have been linked to growth opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. That is how I can translate that into the influencer revenue. The cost avoidance, obviously you've got the self-service, that's relatively standard methodology to do that we use across all of our self-service platforms. But these numbers are bogus in the sense that they're completely irrelevant, right? I use these numbers because it keeps us relevant. It keeps my stakeholders happy. It keeps my team funded. This is not what represents the success of our community. So yes, we play that game. Everybody's happy. Using millions of dollars and millions of pounds of savings and influence is great. What we do, I mean, if I had a magic wand, I would like to have a look at percentage of adoption, and we're working towards that. Influence on NPS, we're starting to get that. It's what value is there for the community. Having a community member tell me, I was able to crack an automation to, is it childcare benefits, thanks to collaborating on the community, that for me is success. But I need those numbers to make sure we stay funded. I needed those numbers for them to invest in Khoros. So, you know, that's the whole thing there in terms of numbers, speaking the same language.
I guess not only Khoros, right? Like
Yeah.
the whole initiative. But okay.
Definitely, yeah.
Fair point. And I guess that leads you to have the yes, right, at some point in the community space.
And then just kind of on that point there, so this is Gartner Peer Insights, third-party review platform. This for me is more important than the millions, showing that we've got 25 points over our competitors in the market in terms of strong user community and 19 points over in terms of strong customer focus is telling me we're doing the right thing. So those for me are better indicators of success.
Great stuff. Yeah, thank you for sharing those internals as much as possible, of course. Yeah, we have a couple of seconds left. Last question from me is, what's next? You've achieved so much so far. So what's exciting?
Yeah, I think obviously we relaunched the community this year. It's really right now we're really much focusing on the operationalization. That is such a hard word to say. The foundations, the operating model, the processes, because again, we need to be mean and lean. We need to make sure that we focus our energies in the right places. We want the community to be super sticky. We want to enable as many people as possible. So that's on a pure community standpoint. Again, I've got the best team ever, and I adore them. And they challenge us, and we get creative and do crazy things. But I think the most important and most exciting thing is we've called it Project Phoenix, is because we're basically breaking everything and rebuilding in terms of our digital ecosystem. This is where it's going to get nerdy. It's the single sign-on. Integrate it with all the customer identity management. Link it with the product while we do the whole front-end stuff, building that data lake. All of that is so exciting, and obviously having all those integrations, all of those flows and everything, but you can't do that in a silo. So as much as I'm head of CX, I have a responsibility on making sure the customer journey is working. It's not something that my team can fix on their own, and it has to be something that's cross-functional. So that for us there is having that super streamlined experience. You know, people don't need to care what platform, what destination they're on. They just need to be able to get what they need when they need. And if they want the warm and fuzzies, they can get the warm and fuzzies. And if they just want to get a solution to their problem, they can get a solution to their problem. But it's not for us to impact. I had it phrased in my head in a good way. But basically, we can't make our organizational challenges something for them to suffer from. So that's kind of, we're shifting the whole mindset of being customer first when we're designing these kind of big initiatives that are cross-functional. So that's why we need to stop egos getting in the way and breaking down the silos, because ultimately it's for the customer. So, yeah.
That's the final word. Thank you, Charlotte.
Sorry for being over for 2 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, a little bit over time, but thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.